Lieutenant General Lewis Chesty Puller was one of the most decorated Marines in American history. He led from the front, never asked his men to do what he wouldn't do, and repeatedly inspired them in impossible situations. Marines today still chant, "Chesty never quits," as part of their esprit de corps. One of his most famous rallying cries, though, came during the brutal fighting at Koto Ri in the Korean War, when his regiment was vastly outnumbered 5-1 in freezing temperatures. His response was classic Puller grit. "There aren't enough Chinese in the world," he said, "to stop a Marine regiment going where it wants to go. Christ, in His mercy, will see us through." You know, that wasn't empty bravado. That was faith spoken in the middle of fear. Imagine a young Marine on those frozen slopes. The night is long, the enemy is close, the radio crackles with confusion, and every instinct screams panic or quit. And yet that simple phrase from his commander settled his heart. Christ, in His mercy, will see us through. That wasn't a long prayer, but it was a posture of persistent prayer, a steadying turning towards God when circumstances were unlikely to change. And that's exactly what Jesus is teaching us in Luke 18 when He says, He spake a parable unto them to this end, that men ought always to pray and not to faint. He gives us an image of a widow woman. In that culture, she was often helpless, powerless, overlooked, and with no advocate or no leverage in that society. And yet that widow woman kept coming. She kept asking, and she refused to faint when speaking to an unjust judge. See, her prayer wasn't poetic, but it was persistent. And Jesus tells this story because He knows how easily we get weary in life. Today, many hearts are heavy. Research shows that 43% of Americans report increased anxiety. And among young adults, it's higher. 18 to 24-year-olds, over half report symptoms of anxiety or depression. See, life presses in, and it's often filled with disappointment, uncertainty, unfulfilled expectations, and slowly hope begins to fade. And in that moment, we can hear the words of Christ echo through the ages. Pray, don't faint. Prayer in Scripture teaches us that prayer is not passive. It's active dependence. Modern research confirms this. Psychiatrist Harold Cohen reviewed over 1,600 studies and found that people who regularly engage in prayer demonstrate lower levels of depression, greater emotional regularity, stronger resilience in prolonged stress. See, prayer is not avoidance. Prayer is engagement. It's bringing our burdens honestly before God and allowing Him, through His Word and Spirit, to steady our minds and reframe the thoughts of our own heart. And here is where hope deepens. Unlike the nameless widow in Luke 18, we're not strangers knocking at the door of heaven. As believers, we are children of God. We have an advocate, Jesus Christ the righteous. We have a high priest who intercedes on our behalf. And we have promises that cannot fail. As the psalmist would say in Psalm 34:6, "This poor man cried, and the Lord heard him and saved him out of all his troubles." The widow in Luke 18 prevailed through persistent prayer. The Marine at Koto Ri endured through faith. And we are invited to do the same. Don't faint. Don't stop praying. Keep coming to Him. Keep trusting in Him. And like Chesty Puller reminds his Marines, Christ in His mercy will see us through.